Hello everyone and welcome back to another video here on the channel. Today I want to make a video rather quick and I want to talk about 3 things that I think you should be doing that could help you out just before you post those illustrations on Instagram. I know that moment we all get excited, we're finishing an illustration in Procreate and we think it looks good and then we just kind of rush it and post it onto our favorite social media, that being Instagram, Facebook, whatever social media you want to post, procreate.art. Anywhere that you're just going to post that illustration, just take a step back and think about these 3 things that I want to tell you in this video. So without any further ado, let's get with the list. So the first one is about post effects. You finish your illustration and you have that version done, and let's just call that the master version. What I really like to do here in Procreate, first and foremost, I go back into my gallery section, I make a duplicate of that illustration, or I export my illustration as a PNG file or image, but re-import that back into Procreate. You can actually do that super easily by just going into your master illustration that has all the layers. You go into the actions menu, go into the share button and export. Export that as a PNG, but in the final screen here in iOS, instead of choosing save image or sending as an email or whatever it is, you can just choose copy, and then when you go back into the gallery mode, you can create a new file, and then you'll see that just underneath the screen size option, there's an option which is the clipboard option, and that's exactly the image that you've just exported into the memory of your iPad. Is going to paste that into a new canvas, hence a new file. And in this new file, you have everything into one layer. I'm just using this as an example because it's really much easier to do these post effects within one layer in an image in Procreate. So here we can do many things. We can play with levels, we can play with hue and saturation, curves, and just kind of crush the contrast of the picture just enough so that it pops a little bit more. Sometimes you may want to get the inverse effect. I've actually done this illustration here as an example. It was a very bluish sort of saturated image, and I turned it super desaturated and I actually preferred that result. That exercise only came because I was playing with the post effects section, which is this tip number 1. So after that, so you can play with color, you can use gradient maps, which is another great feature in the latest version of Procreate. But at the very end, don't forget to use a little bit of sharpen to your images. It's something that you can't really notice, you can't really see, but you can definitely feel. You can definitely feel when something looks sharper than the original image. And within all the brush strokes, within all the transformations that you may have done to that picture, even though you may have worked with a very high resolution canvas size, you can always get a little sharper if you use the sharpen effect from the adjustment menu in Procreate. The second tip is about process, is about collecting your process. It's really great to show the finalized picture, the finalized illustration that you have, but also as cool and sometimes even cooler is to offer value and to show your process, show like where you started from. You can show your construction lines and then maybe the clean outline version. Then you get into the fills, get into the shading, show the stuff that you've learned while doing that illustration. Maybe you've learned a new technique. Maybe you've learned how to combine 2 techniques into a third and completely new and fresh one for your art style. So there's so much that we can show in the gallery section, in the gallery mode on Instagram. You can show your final piece, but then people can swipe right and go and see all those steps that you took to get to the final destination. And again, offering the value is priceless. It's really the process should be the thing that people should enjoy the most. And the likes and the recognition should be secondary. And I believe that, I truly believe in this because this is one of the reasons why I have this channel. I'm offering the value through the tutorials that I make, through the speed paint videos, things that I'm really happy when someone puts a comment saying that they've learned a certain tool or they didn't even know about something and then they've discovered through this channel. So I truly believe that there's something to be said about finalizing your image, but also showing your process and telling your story through that process as well. And now the last one for this video is not going to be a technique. It's not going to be a button that you press on Procreate or, something that you should do, some kind of steps. Actually, it's called stepping away. I've actually been doing this for the latest batch of illustrations I've created, and it has helped me a lot. And I know that this also sounds quite opposite because we have just finished our illustration. We feel so compelled to post that, to get that, it's the climax, it's the last thing from hours and hours of perhaps illustrating, if that illustration was a longer one. But actually stepping away is important because our brains and our vision and everything gets so accustomed. And I think it's like we just get used to looking at that illustration for the longest period of time that we stop to see other things that can help to enhance it. I think that's the best way that I can describe it. And I'm going to try to give you a visual example here on the screen as well. So in one of my latest illustrations, I was drawing this mechanical hand, this like robot hand, and I had gone through many color variations. So I've certainly, I've done tip number 1 here, which was the post effects. I've created a gallery. I was showing a little bit of my process. I could have actually done better for tip number 2. I didn't really show the clean line step or the construction lines, but this one was an illustration that actually I was taking a long time to finish it. But as I got to the very last section of the illustration, as I got to the point that I thought that I had finished it, I actually took a step back and stepped away, went outside, or do your favorite other activity like a hobby, whatever you want to do, and then come back to it after a couple hours. It can even be the next day or a couple days, and take a look at that illustration and try to see if there's anything major missing. And I should actually clarify what I say by major. I don't mean that you should restart. I don't mean that you should actually flip things like upside down and recreate that illustration or completely change the mood and the colors. I think that by that point, you should know at least like 90% where you're trying to go or what you're trying to say. But that 10% can still be major. And in this example here, I actually had that hand, but it really didn't have like some sort of rim light, some sort of light that was coming from the opposite side from the main direction of the light here, which was coming from top right. So the main light was coming from top right and there wasn't anything else. And I just took a step back. I went about doing other things with my life, and I came back to that illustration and I looked again. And after I added that one layer of just light that was coming from the other side, it really made things to, it really made the hand to jump out more in the illustration. And those small things, I actually consider them major updates, because really looking at the before and after, I really prefer the state that it got to, even if it's a small addition. So I guess also what I'm trying to say is that by the time you step away and you come back, try to actually have a good sense where you're trying to go. And sometimes we do need to restart if you're really not happy with where you are. But I think that other times it's actually better to have something done and then start something new, like the next one, so that you don't get stuck in a loop where you're recreating the same illustration over and over without being able to really finish that one, to close that door so that you can open a new one. So think about these steps. It can be small light changes, it can be small color changes, it can be compositional changes, such as like cropping the image a little bit can actually make things jump out more as well, especially when we think about negative space, which is a whole nother discussion here. It's something to talk in another video, but those small things can make major changes to your illustration. So really, that's it for this video, guys. I hope you guys enjoyed it. If you did, a like would be super appreciated, as well as make sure to hit the subscribe button and the bell notification icon so you don't miss any of these tips and tricks, reviews, and speed paint videos, and everything to make you a better digital illustrator every single day. Now on the right side of the screen, there is always more content for you to watch. One is my latest upload, and the other one is a video that YouTube is recommending you to check it out. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you on the next one. Ciao.